What's up, everybody? We finally made it to October, the month of Halloween. And with that, I wanted to do an analyzing of the 2018 Halloween Trilogy, including Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Let's get started. So if you've followed my channel for a while, it's no secret that my favorite horror movie ever is Halloween. When Halloween 2018 was announced, I was super excited because the last entry we had before that one was, I believe, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. If you see my ranking videos, not a big fan of that one. I understand what you're trying to do. It wasn't really my cup of tea for Halloween, considering how many years we had invested on Halloween and the Michael Myers character. But when I heard and I saw the trailer and I saw the mask for 2018, I was super excited. So let's talk about 2018. Classic. It was very good. Why? Number one, it felt like a Halloween movie. Not every Halloween movie in the past has felt that way. It was, had a great nod by bringing back a lot of the people from the original movie. Bringing back Jamie Lee Curtis. They did all the right things that I could think of. My only knock on that movie was Dr. Sartain, right? Because I thought his character was his arc was a little strange to me. But even there, after more watching, I like his character a lot. And his character makes a lot of sense. Because if you look at Halloween 4, Halloween 5, as time goes on with Dr. Loomis, he seems to lose a lot more control. Because he is so conflicted and confounded on how to reach this evil entity, this evil character of Michael Myers, that I feel like had the movies gone along with him, he may have gone that route. Because as a doctor, as someone who wants to understand their client, from that perspective, I could understand why Dr. Sartain did what he did, because he tried every other way to understand Michael Myers. Dr. Loomis tried every single way he could to understand Michael Myers, and nothing else could work. So after watching it more, I appreciate his character and what happened with him in that movie, because it made sense when you really think about it. The ending was really good, really strong, with Jamie Lee, Laurie Strode having her whole house made as a trap for Michael Myers. And here's where it starts to get a little crazy, or go a little off the rails for me. At the very end of the movie, when Allison gripped the knife, this foreshadowing in my head seemed very reminiscent of the foreshadowing, well, not even the foreshadowing, at the way Halloween 4 ended and the way they were going to go with the next movies. So let's go to Halloween Kills. There's no mention of the gripping of the knife. It had no bearing on this movie. The tone of this movie felt completely different to 2018. Michael Myers was the best version of himself compared to any other Halloween in the past. Now, it got a little too like martial artist, like John Wick style. Like, to me, it was a little, but we want to see Michael Myers do his thing, and this was the best representation of him. The mob, the story with the mob that ran side by side with his main story, wasn't a big fan of that. I thought they could have done without the scene in the hospital with Mr. Tamoli, I believe his name was. I think they could have done with all that. I didn't see a need. It didn't make any sense. Now, other than that, that was my only real knock with it, and the fact that the tone, as brutal as it was, the tone didn't feel very like dark or painful, considering what was happening on the screen. This is a Michael Myers showcase, but never once in the movie did it feel like an uncomfortable or like sad or like feeling. Even with the death of Laurie Strode's daughter in this movie, the way that it was done as almost like it almost seemed like a flashback or like something that wasn't real, the way that it was filmed. And considering she was the daughter of the main character of this entire saga, or the main protagonist of this entire saga, I feel she should have had a different way to go out, which would have made it more impactful. You know, that was my only gripes with that one. So here we go. Halloween Ends. Okay, so after Kills, my hype for Halloween had come down a tad, but I was still very, I was like what they were about Myers. I was still very excited for Halloween Ends. So I went to go see Halloween Ends with my brother and one of my good buddies. Out of the theater, we sat down and talked about the movie, like right out of the theater. Both of them said it was horrible. I said, no, the movie was amazing. It was awesome. Like, what did you guys see? I did not see what you saw. The next night, because it was on Peacock as well. So the next night, me and my wife sat down and watched it. So this is my second viewing in 2 nights. The overall hype that I had after viewing 1 came down a little bit. My wife was like, just like my friends were and my brother was, that movie was horrible. And I was like, no, it was pretty good. But my level for hypeness at first come down after a second viewing a little bit. Because I was like, okay, this isn't exactly how I remembered it, but okay, cool, but still a good movie, right? So we all know how Halloween Ends, how it played out. Because of this movie, it hurt the entire trilogy. It kind of lowered the greatness of Halloween 2018, because this is now 44 years of this saga, okay? Corey Cunningham's character, look, here's how I would have done things to make things better. I would have opened up 2018 with the Halloween 2018 with the Corey Cunningham in the way they opened up Halloween Ends. I would have made that the opening of 2018, and then after the credits roll, started again how it started for 2018 originally. Start with the scene at the hospital with Michael Myers being interviewed by the reporters. Start there. But at least if you open up 2018 with that scene for Corey, there's an introduction to him 2 movies prior to him coming out in Halloween Ends. Then in Halloween Kills, instead of that gang, the group hysteria subplot, run his story side by side with the main story. So some of the bullying he experienced in Halloween Ends, sprinkle it in Halloween Kills. Now you've already, not only was he introduced in the first one, you kind of see what he's going through in the second one. Then if you want to go the route you did with after Kills and Michael Myers being in the sewer and being beat down from all the fighting, it would have made more sense. If you want to pass the mantle over to Corey Cunningham, there's no problem with that. The issue I had with it was the fact that it was kind of shoehorned in a franchise that we have put so many years in, and it was wrapped around Michael Myers and Laurie Strode for all those years. And now at the very last one, you put this person into it that has, and now he's supposed to be Michael Myers because of a look they had in the tunnel. I didn't like that. Now on top of that, I think my biggest issue with the trilogy was Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode's arc went in reverse to me. So 40 years after the first Halloween, she puts herself into this. She like guards herself in the world. She puts herself and makes her house a fortress. Right now, mind you, he had been caught in 1978, and he, for all intents and purposes, was good and not going to hurt anybody for 40 years. So to me, her doing all of that. So the way that she was in Halloween Ends, where she was like writing the book, how she put her monster behind her, that would have made more sense had she done it in 2018, because for 40 years he wasn't around. So yeah, put your monster behind you then. Come to terms with it then, because he's been locked up for 40 years. But in ends, in kills, her daughter was killed. He got away, and he for all intents and purposes, is still out there. And it was only like a 2 or 4 year span from kills to ends, and now you decide to put your monster to bed when for 40 years you were like, okay, he's going to come back, and I'm going to make my house a fortress. Had they made the house the fortress plot for ends and put my monster to bed plot in 2018, then it would have made more logical sense in my perspective. There was a few things that didn't add up for me. One of the things they said in kills was the more he kills, the stronger he gets. Killed a ton of people, and he becomes something more than just a man, something more unkillable. And then you go to ends, and he's like, oh, he's just a man. And I'm like, I get her. It's a mindset thing about being a victim. Like you might feel this is what this thing really is, but when you look at it and you really analyze it, it's not that bad. I need to overcome this. So I understand that, but it just the shift of the tone in the way that it played out just didn't make sense. And then with Allison gripping a knife. Now, I would have liked it if Allison became the Corey Cunningham character. That would have made sense, because you already had her interact with Michael Myers in the car in 2018. She gripped the knife that was the kind of like a foreshadowing, and just go with it. The same way they could have gone with Danielle Harris after Halloween 4. And I think from a Halloween fan's perspective, everyone would have been happy with that, because yes, Michael Myers he can't do this forever. But even on that same vein, I don't know that I was such a fan of them aging Michael Myers, but I love the mask. That Halloween 2018 mask is one of the best masks of the series. So I think that the way to fix this entire trilogy is ends could have been really strong to make, if Corey was introduced early, if Laurie Strode's arc about wanting to protect herself had just flipped, and she was trying to put things to bed in 2018, and she was serious in Halloween Ends, I think that would have been great. I also think that Laurie Strode should have been killed. She is not the main focus of Halloween. We don't watch Halloween for her. She's a protagonist. I mean, the main protagonist. I get that, but we watch Halloween for Michael Myers. That's why we watch Friday the 13th for Jason. We watch Nightmare on Elm Street for Freddy. That's what we do. That's the horror side of a horror movie, which we're horror fans of. So it would just make sense. And her surviving versus him doesn't really do much for any more Halloween. And I guess that was the mindset of David Gordon Green, was to put it to bed and end it. I would have liked it just him to kill her. And if you want to do the Corey thing, then have Corey overcome him somehow, but his story's already been told starting in 2018. I think that would have been a lot more palatable and you would have done exactly what you did with the movies. Just flip a few things around, and I think you would have had one of the greatest trilogies from top to bottom ever. Now, what can we do for going forward? Like, is there a way to bring Michael Myers back? Like, what can we do for the next one if you want to do a sequel? I think that there is a pretty good one in my head, at least. I think since all the town was touching his body as he went to the incinerator, you go with that, with the whole the curse of Michael Myers, essentially, and like everybody that touched his body, every person that touches his body is affected in a way. Now, you guys remember at the end of Ends, they still showed the mask. So the mask was still there. And if you want to go off the idea of the mask giving power that they tried to start in 2018, go with that. Now, maybe that mask was at Laurie Strode's house. One day she comes home and it's gone. She has no idea. She has no idea where it is, and there starts to be killings happening. You don't know who's doing it, and there's different methods of kills, so you have no idea who's doing what. And at the very end of the movie, turns out that Julian, the little boy from 2018, he is the one to take up the mantle. Little kid was touched Michael Myers' body, has the mask, and can carry on that story. A little bit of a stretch, but if you're going to go off of that last movie, that's the way that I would do it. So, look, guys, I just want to kind of chat about Halloween, because we're now in October, and clearly, as you guys can tell, I'm a huge fan of the series. Overall, I really enjoyed 2018. I thought Kills was great for Michael Myers, but certain parts of it I didn't like. And Ends just didn't do it for me. The more I watch it, the more upset I get of what could have been, of what could have happened. But anyways, guys, what did you think of the trilogy? What did you think of 2018 Kills and Ends? What did you like? What didn't you like? How would you have done things differently if you could? Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you guys next time.